speak for itself. Grinding in silence, ain't nothing to tell. When we step on the court, we gon' bring it to light. And we stop and pop like we caught it a light. Stop asking what's wrong with me. You already know there's a dog in me. And there's no stopping my focus, man. Make sure all my people gon' ball with me. Yeah, I came to compete, I'm a dog with it. Yeah, I came to compete with my paws in it.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Wisdom Wednesday. It's your boy JD, Jordan Delks, and today is a very, very special episode. I get to have my father, Barry Delks, who is one of the wisest men I've ever met, on the show. But before we dive in to Wisdom Wednesday, I want to let you know that our mindset and basketball training are on our website, competetrainingacademy.org. My wife Courtney and I, we want to connect with you. Get with us there. And without further ado, I want to dive into some Wisdom Wednesday with my dad, Barry. Barry, thanks for joining us on the podcast today.
Honored to be here. Proud of you in this beautiful facility in this room. Glad to be here.
Awesome. And on Wisdom Wednesdays, we really just share what's on our heart. I'm curious, what's the Lord teaching you right now?
I think the biggest thing that he's been teaching me for the last 2 years is learning how to become ruthlessly unhurried. So that's the biggest thing.
Love to hear that. And my dad is such a great example. Growing up, a boy couldn't have had a better example. Every single morning that I'd come out for breakfast, he'd be there reading his Bible, praying, and truly that example right there was all I needed. He didn't even have to say anything. I just saw the way he lived his life. And so that example of being unhurried every morning, spending time with the Father, was priceless to me. Dad, we talk about mindset a lot here at Compete Training Academy. You're part of our group Dream Season X, which is my community of individuals, iron sharpening iron. And I'm curious, is there an area of life that the devil attacks you? Because Ephesians 6:12 says our battle isn't against flesh and blood. It's a spiritual war going on. Is there a place in your life right now where the thief is coming to kill, steal, and destroy?
Oh, man. And he's a deceiver, so you don't even realize he's doing it. And for me, the battle has been something, and I tried to identify when it started. And for me, I think it started in grad school. Is grad school, you were rewarded for being efficient and productive. And then take the first job, efficient and productive, and you get a raise, you get honored, you get man's accolades. And so I got in that cycle. And about age 50, I read a book by Alan Fadling called Unhurried Life. And I marked up every paragraph, every page, I highlighted it, and it's just like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
I called the author. I said, I can't do this. And he said, he goes, Barry, he says, you value things other than being unhurried. You value things other than being like Jesus, because he equates being like Jesus as being unhurried.
Right.
And so that was the start for me of working on that. And in your class, it's something I focus on all the time. Over the last 5 to 10 years, I've been growing in that area. I started a club called Unhurried. Why? Because it's something I was working on, but I also saw it in students. I see it in everybody's life that I'm around. My coworkers, my neighbors, is we live hurried lives in America, and I'd say more in America than other countries. I've been to Australia, I've been to Romania, where they enjoy savoring a meal, where they enjoy savoring just being still.
It's funny,
and you've got to work on that here.
It's funny how America is different than some other places in the world where it's so fast here. It's more and more here.
Yeah.
And we like to say all the time that busy, B-U-S-Y, is bound under Satan's yoke. And that's exactly what's going on. Is the devil's trying to speed you up. He's trying to make you busy. And take you away from going really deep. Not wide and thin. Don't go wide and thin. Go narrow and deep in who God created you to be, your unique design your superpower. I want to dive into that part. I see them, but I want you to verbalize to me what your superpower, what's your unique design, what is your light to shine to the world as far as your gifts and talents?
Yeah. Naturally, it's been a couple things. One is, if you look right at my LinkedIn, it's my superpower. Is my passion is helping others find their passion. So I like to help people figure out what are your likes, your dislikes, your strengths, your weaknesses, what do you value, and then helping them go for it. And so that's my passion, is doing that.
I love to hear that. You just heard the door open. My son Grayson just popped in on our podcast. What's up, Grayson? You
Love
doing
you,
good, buddy? Good. So I want to talk about more of your work helping people find their passion. I've seen you do it for 3 decades at Purdue. You're getting ready to retire here coming up in January.
January 25.
January 2025. Tell me, what has God taught you over those 30 years? If you could pull out one lesson from your career in student services and Purdue Animal Sciences, what is one lesson God's taught you?
The biggest lesson he's taught me, one, in that context of my passion is helping other people find their passion. That's where I find my pleasure. That's where I feel God's presence. I feel His joy when I'm doing that.
That's it.
But in that context, what He's teaching me is to slow down, is to enjoy it, not to be hurried through it. It's like you said, to go deeper. Okay, John Mark Comer, who wrote this book, he had a megachurch. He had satellites, and he went to his board and he said, "I don't want to have megachurches. I want one. Go deeper. I want one church." That I'm focused on, and his passion was always to do it in the city. That was who he wanted to minister to. And so he's going deeper there, and he's still fighting that fight. Is he know what his passion is? Ministering. But it wasn't mega churches. It wasn't doing more and faster. It was, I want to focus on these people in this place in this city. And so for me, it's not doing more events, more programs. For me, it's how do I do it deeper with fewer people, that I can do that at an unhurried pace, at Christ's pace.
It's interesting. Jesus saved the world, but He did it through really pouring into 12 people.
In 3 years.
In 3 years.
With no house and no food. I mean, he was an unhurried man.
My son's sitting over here at the desk watching us do this podcast here. Grayson is turning 7, and the human subconscious is formed between the ages of 5 to 8 years old. The Bible speaks a lot about children. Jesus says, "Let the little children come to me, for greatest are they in the kingdom of heaven." One of the things I love doing with clients is having them re-meet their 5 to 8 year old self. And what would their 5 to 8 year old self tell them today about the life they're currently living? I'm curious, what would your 5 to 8 year old self, what wisdom would that boy give you today about the life you're currently living right now?
It's funny, I brought this picture, and then Grayson came in here. Is because this picture is of Grayson when he was probably 4 or 5 years old. This day changed my life.
If you're watching on YouTube, you see this picture. If you're listening on the podcast, it's a picture of Grayson walking through some tall grass.
And what happened was, Grayson and I were on your 4-wheeler, and it was a sunny spring day, 70 degrees, and we were riding down to see the horses. And he had a harmonica in his mouth, and he was just playing the harmonica. So the sun's blowing on him, and we're riding a 4-wheeler, and we go down to see the horses, and he's just blowing that harmonica, and it was a perfect day for me. My grandson's on my lap. He's playing a harmonica, and then he says, "Stop." He stops me. 5-year-old Grayson says, "Stop." He gets off the 4-wheeler, and he walks into these beautiful grasses, and then he just sits down. He becomes still. That's who I want to become like, is Grayson. Grayson was wise enough that's like, I'm playing the harmonica, I'm enjoying a sunny day, I'm going to go sit down in this grass and be still. It was a beautiful example. I took that picture of you, and I still remember it.
Yeah.
Now, 3-4 years later, that's who I want to be like, is Grayson, is sitting down in that pasture and being still.
Oh, that's so good. Psalm 96:10 says, "Be still and know that I am God." And wherever you're at in your life this week, I hope you take the time to find that stillness. What if you worked from a daily place of rest? What if you set that margin in your life? You shouldn't collapse on Sunday and rest one day a week. Yes, but that the Sabbath is created for you to rest, yes, but you should come from a daily place of rest.
I would just want to piggyback on that, if we've got a minute, is we come from a place of rest. We don't work to rest.
Yep.
Totally
different thing.
You are setting a great example for us in the morning. Is you get up and then you rest. You have meditation. You go through some quiet time, exercises and procedures and cold baths and red lights and stuff.
Yep.
But that's resting so that you can work.
Yep.
And most of us, our whole life, we work so that we can rest on Friday night or on Saturday or whatever, versus coming from rest. It's a big deal.
100%. And that's the challenge I want to leave you guys with. No one's going to take care of you other than you.
Yep.
Your parents can't do it for you.
Yep.
Your spouse can't do it for you. This is your choice. Take control of your life. Work from a daily place of rest. These are your habits. These are the hedges, the margins that you got to put. I like calling it bookending your days, morning and evening routine. I'd love to help you with that. Dad, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today. It was truly an honor. Thank you for the wisdom that you poured into me for 35 years. And
thank you, man.
Raised me to chase after God.
Yeah.
And listener, if this impacted you, please like, subscribe, share this with someone who needs it, and always compete. Do what God calls you to do, even when it's hard.